All right, welcome to another edition of the Foursquare Show. We are recording on August 15th, 2025, and I am Eric Costanza, of course, Dan Richmond, and you see a new face here on the show. We have a wonderful guest who is joining us. He is the man, the myth, the legend in Foursquare. He is known as the Legend. I kind of just randomly made it out up. For valid reasons, which we'll get to. Mr. Neil Bubba Polucha. Do you want us to call you Neil? You want us to call you Bub? I call you Bub, as you know. What do you want to go by?
You call me Bub. We can roll with that.
We're gonna roll with Bub. I like it. Good. Welcome, Bub. You
Thanks.
are here to just talk about well, whatever you want to talk about. But we're probably gonna talk about Foursquare. We're probably gonna talk about Foursquare today. Before we dive in, though, no Joe. Joe is in New York visiting family. I'm not really sure. I think it was in a last-minute impromptu situation. So, Joe, I'm assuming Joe's going to listen back and watch this. I was looking at our video, our shows on YouTube the other day, and the show that he was on, that you weren't on, Dan, his first very show, that still holds the record for the most views. So I'm gonna say you're the problem, Dan. Just throwing that out there.
Sounds like
76.
Ooh.
Last time I checked. That's I'll take it. Although that's not the most views that any one of our videos have gotten. The biggest one was actually one that I did of the 2024 World Championships. It was like a 10-minute, I think, or 11-minute review of like a summary of like highlights basically, and that has 166 views. And we're gonna talk about this, but our Foursquare event that we did in July, that's got 65 views. So that's a close second or third place, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I digress. Bub, first of all, Dan, Bub, Dan, you guys met at the Foursquare event that we had a couple of weeks ago, which we'll talk about. Dan, please feel free to. I already know Bub, and Dan, you met Bub, but for our listeners, for our viewers, all of them, let us know what Foursquares mean to you, Bub. Where did you tell us about your life before Foursquares? Tell us about your experience. Tell us about your inner philosophy when it comes to the wonderful sport of Foursquares.
So I was born on February 22nd, 1989 at Milford Hospital, to my mother, Julie, my father, John. I was a third kid at the time. I now have a younger sister as well. That's when it really started, my love of Foursquares in the hospital that first day that I was born. And fast forward to 6 years later, and Northbridge Parks and Recreation. I lived in Northbridge at the time, and I think my mom was trying to get me and my brother and my sisters out of the house. And so that's when I met you when I was 6 years old, which sounds creepy on your end. But Riverdale was my home for the next, 5 or 6 summers. And I can't tell you, well, you guys know, but the number of hours that I've spent playing Foursquares in my life is, I don't know if it's countable.
It's still not enough. There's never not enough Foursquares to be played. Yes. So let me just let people know. So Northbridge is a town in central southern Massachusetts. Small town, about 14,000, I want to say, or somewhere around there. About 20 minutes south of Worcester, which is the second largest city in Massachusetts. And then within Northbridge, there are little sections Bub mentioned Riverdale. I've probably mentioned Riverdale as well. Riverdale is one of the sections in Northbridge. Why there's sectionalized, I have no idea. But
The mills.
yeah, yeah, we're a mill town. Um, so yeah, there was Parks and Recreation, which occurred during summers when we were kids. And obviously, as Bub mentioned, and as I have mentioned before, one of the biggest, most successful, wonderful, glorious things that we did during those times was play Foursquare, among other sports and games. But Foursquare was definitely the go-to. Dan, I know that you also had your
Definitely
beginnings of the game within
yeah,
camp as well. Yeah.
definitely a summer camp thing. For me, it was 2 weeks every summer, starting when I was about 10. So a little bit later, I'd go to a camp at UVA, sleepaway camp, and we'd play not quite all day, but any free time we had, the ball immediately came out, whatever squares were available. We had a bunch of different courts with different, some of them had walls around them, some of them were more open, some of them were, games always backing up onto each other. But for me, it was definitely a lot of the day during the summer. And then I was actually a counselor at that camp when I was in college. And it's a lot of fun dominating a bunch of little kids, a bunch of middle and high school kids when you're a college kid. So that was my experience with it. We had another variation of it called Larry Ball, which was based on a sidewalk where the squares, the panels, the lines between the concrete were just laid out in a different way. So it was sort of like Foursquare, but it had a big square in the middle, and there was a neutral square. So there was a lot of balls just kind of bouncing and starting to roll, and just a little different dynamic there.
Interesting. We might have to dive into that someday.
Yeah.
So Bub, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say it. Okay. My humble opinion is that you are the okay. So I'll start. Okay, Mark Pryor. We've talked about this. I think recently. So Mark Pryor is in my opinion the best Foursquare player I've ever witnessed and seen. He's a four-time world champion. Unfortunately, was not at the World Champions last year, but he was the year before that. And Dan, you
Yeah,
questioning me?
I thought it was. I may be thinking
No, no,
somebody
no.
else.
He was
No, I know who I'm thinking of.
yeah,
You're right.
it was the year before, yeah.
It was the other tall
Um,
guy that was there last year. That's right.
yes.
Yeah,
And he's amazing. And I'm gonna go ahead and say you're right there with him, Bob. I'm gonna say you
totally
are an
agree.
incredible, and yeah, Dan, you witnessed this. Um, what I mean, is it just it's not just the time you put in because you have to have the athletic ability, the eye-hand coordination, the agility, the foresight, the anticipation. Like, what is it about you specifically that makes you an incredible player?
Before he starts, I'm going to say instinct for the game also.
Mm.
Gotta have the instinct.
I think I Foursquares is so much fun because it is a physical game. You have to be athletic and you have to be able to move and be agile and all those things that you just said. And then one thing that you said that I think is the most important, which makes, in my opinion, myself very good at Foursquares, is the anticipation. Seeing where the ball's going to go before it gets to you, so that way you can position yourself. So not only, I was actually thinking about this the other day. Not only does it make it easier for your next hit, it makes it harder for the person that you hit it to, because if you're in position, you can now do three different things with the ball that they can't anticipate. Whereas if you don't anticipate and you have to get there late, you can only do one thing with the ball, and then they can see that. And so by anticipating and getting to the spot ahead of time, it just makes your life so much more easy. And I feel like I've always been very good at that. Willing to put my body on the line. Not so much now at 36, but back in the day, I don't think there was a day of the summer where I didn't come home dirty, bloodied, shirt ripped. I mean, it was just, I was on the ground more than I was standing up sometimes. So yeah, I mean, it's seeing, like you said, the foresight and the anticipation of kind of getting ready for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys read Calvin and Hobbes. There's a good line where, pretty sure it's Calvin, says, if your knees aren't green at the end of the day, I think you ought to seriously re-examine your life. So, Bob, sounds like you were living that mantra.
Yeah, I mean, ditto on everything you just said, and I didn't think of it that way. You're right. So when you anticipate where the ball is going to come and you position yourself accordingly, the person who's hitting you the ball has already almost been at a loss because the way that they're going to hit it, you're already ready for it. And the other players too, by the way, assuming there's still four people playing at the time. Um, and again, I mean, I think that comes a lot with time playing. Okay, if I hit the ball here, where does it go? Where does it have? But there's also that aspect of who you're playing against. And that's where you get a little bit into the dynamics of that, right? Because Bub, you and I have played together quite a bit. So I know, as you probably do with me, some of my tendencies, what I typically may or may not do. I mean, it's been a decade since we've played, but nonetheless, I think it's like riding a bike for us. Dan and I, we haven't played as much together, but people who you play with maybe a lot, you might kind of know, and this is probably the case with any sport, right? Um, Whereas if you're playing against people that you haven't played with a lot or have never played with, um, you're not going to necessarily exactly know what their skill is, what their tendencies are, where their weaknesses are, which all comes into the strategy. So
But I'll
talk to
say
us
that
yeah, go ahead,
because I'll
Dan.
say that when we were playing Bub in Boston, what was it, a month or two ago? Um, there were plenty of times where I was like, nope, I can see where Bub's going to put it, and I'm just not going to be able to reach it. I'm off on the left side of the square, and just a slam to the right. And it's like, nope, not going to happen. Not going to get there. And looking back at it now, I can see you positioning yourself. Say, okay, where's it going to go? Do I need to go up? Do I need to go back? Do I need to go left, right? Where do I need to get to? And that combines with the defensive. There's a ball that's behind you. Can you? I saw you doing things like this, where you're popping it back behind you. I was like, I didn't realize you could do that. So the learnings that you get from watching people who are really good play, hopefully they up my game a little bit. Just wish I had more people to practice with.
Yeah, and I urge anybody to go. I mentioned it earlier, but there's a video on our page of the event that we're referring to, which when was it? The beginning of July, I think it was, or mid-July. Yeah, mid-July, I think it was, about a month ago. And we did a little bit of a production with it, but take a look, and I think it was mentioned in my little play-by-play during the production of it, but take a look at the anticipation that Bub and that we're all talking about. The anticipate like everybody's always moving. You're always going somewhere. You're never really staying still. If you're staying still, then you're putting yourself, in a position that you could, get easily out. Depending on where the ball's going, where you're moving, who's hitting it and all that, you're always kind of moving in a certain way. So take a look at that video if you want to maybe get some firsthand knowledge of that. Um, let's go back a little bit to your career, your Foursquare career, Bob. You are, and we mentioned this, a little bit earlier as far as doing, town tournaments and whatnot. I want to say you hold the record, definitely, as far as I know, but for most town championships. Tell us about how all that happened, what that is, how many you have. Just feel free to let us all know about that.
So the Northbridge Parks and Recreation, when I started, there were 6 around town, 6 different parks you could go to. I went to Riverdale, as did you. And at the end of the summer, each park would have their qualifying tournaments for 3 different age groups, and the top 3 from each age group would go to the big tournament with the other parks. And there would be one final tournament for that age group at the end of the year, and whoever won was the tournament champion that year. I won 9 years in a row. I don't know if my first was when I was 7 or when I was 8, because I stopped going to parks, 14, 15, but I went back when your brother John was an instructor,
Yeah.
and he got a hold of me. I didn't go to parks anymore. And he said, "Hey, the tournament's coming up. Do you wanna be in it?" I was like, "Sure." I go, "When's the qualifying?" He goes, "Today." I'm like, "All right." So I showed up one day qualified. Didn't go to that park at all. Everyone's like, who is this? What's going on? Qualified, won the tournament that was my 9th one. I don't know if I was 15 or 16, but anyway, my first one when I was 7 or 8, and I won that age group. I think it was 6 to 9 was the age group. I won again at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and I happened to, got lucky a couple times here or there, but I always found myself in it at the end, and I was able to get 9 in a row.
Well, I think you're being humble because there's a reason why you are a 9-time town champion. Do you ever remember there being one where you like feel like you almost lost, or that you had to? I mean,
was there ever?
It's been a while. But,
there was. I can't tell you specifically, but I know there was a couple at least where, I probably was down to 9 or one more out, and the other guy had, 8 or 7 or whatever. It was a 10-out tournament. Mm-hmm. And so I had to kind of come back a little bit, but most of them, I was in a pretty good spot. But there's definitely a couple that were tough. But honestly, I think the qualifiers at Riverdale were probably harder than the actual tournament.
Yeah,
we had so many good, a lot of my friends, so many good players at Riverdale that those tournaments were fantastic. Yeah. And some of those, Zach Green, who was at the thing that we had last month, said it when we were there. He's like, I kept getting blocked because Neil always went or won or whatever. So he obviously never won because he's my age.
Yeah.
There's a couple years he didn't even make it to the tournament because there was 5 or 6 other good people, and so it was always a good qualifier.
You're kind of the Patrick Mahomes to his Josh Allen. I feel like Josh Allen would have a couple rings by now, but
fun fact: Josh Allen is the only quarterback with 6+ playoff wins never to appear in a Super Bowl.
Ooh, that is a good one. They're doing Hard Knocks with the Bills this year. It's pretty good. But I feel like there's like a Hard Knocks jinx that makes anybody who's in Hard Knocks actually not do well that season.
Well, a lot of times the Hard Knocks are the crap teams.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a factor.
Yeah. 4 square versus 4 squares. Tell me what your feelings are. Hot debate.
I gotta just pretend like you didn't just ask me that. And just
I know.
What I know. Say.
See, Dan, you're gonna understand that there are certain things such as Pomsies down, that like Bub and other people in my like 4 square circle will crucify me over. Yeah. It is like a swear taboo. How dare you situations? But
I'm 4
square. Man, as long as we're on the court, as long as the court looks like this with the 2 lines going through it, call whatever you want. I'll be out there.
I'm plural, 4 squares.
Yeah. I found, Bub, that we're in the minority from a holistic standpoint.
From a national view.
Yeah, from a national view.
International.
Yes.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me because there are 4 squares.
You're right. But then again, it's English, so there's plenty of things that don't make sense and don't need to. I'm happy for you to tell me that my view is illogical. I'll be like, it's English. It doesn't have to be. It's an idiom.
I'm a very logical person. I like things. I like things to fit and to work. And 4 square. I don't like it.
So here's one for you. The variant I told you about that had that neutral square in the middle. It was called Larry, like the name. Who knows where it came from? No one ever had any idea by the time I started playing it there. And at least for me, it's always stayed that way. And the question was it Larry or was it Larry Ball? And we're like, I was just called it Larry. Who knows?
What's the other one? Oh, okay. I mentioned Pomsies down. Big no where Bub and I come from. Dan, I know that you have always played underhand as well. Mm-hmm. That's just our style. However, again, apparently outside of our little circles, the main way of playing is by being able to use your palmsies down and hit the ball however you want. I know, Bub, how you feel about that. Same way I feel. And I think for the most part, it's the same way Dan feels, maybe not as passionately, just because of the
Hey,
way
Eric,
we.
I'm very sorry. Can you excuse me for one moment? I don't know if
Yes,
you guys want to
Absolutely.
talk here. There's somebody at the door. I got to
that's
talk to them.
fine.
I'll be back in
You're good.
hopefully
You're
one
good.
second.
You're good. You're good. So while Bub is away, let's talk a little bit about the event that we had a month ago. So we ended up having, what was it, Dan? Like
That was about 10 of us.
was it? Well, it was like 5 or 6 adults, and then we had my
And
son
2
and
or
his
3
friend.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, almost
Yeah.
10. And it was a great day. It was hot, but it was good. Foursquare weather. And again, we filmed it. We did a little production. We had a little fun with it. We tried out some different rules. We tried out some different tactics and things like that. We again feel we urge you to go and check out the video on our page. Um, and for the most part, I mean, first of all, extremely fun. First and foremost, to just be able to play Foursquare with other competitive people is always fun. Dan, it was obviously good to see you again. Have you
Always.
stay up with me here for a couple days? And I don't know, what's your overall take on how the event went?
High quality. I mean,
Yeah.
high level of competition. We've been talking about here, some of the other guys as well. Generally, my Foursquare is against not high quality competition. It's largely children now because
Yeah.
I play with my kids and their cousins and things. But even when I played at camp, it was very much like tone it down. This is easy. This is not competitive. And I was like, but like I want to see how good I can be. Like I want to, really kind of go at it full strength, full speed. So the ability to play at full strength is always fun. I'm not as good as I used to be. I'm bigger, older, slower, so it's getting tougher. But we also did a bunch of variations. That 6 square one was just
Mm-hmm.
nuts, and it's any wrinkle you put into the game just changes how you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So with 6 square, all of a sudden you've got to do 180-degree turn every now and then where you're flipping
Yeah.
back and forth. You can hit it over somebody, and when the dynamic changes. And then we did a couple of other things with overhand, underhand, allowed, not allowed. Did some experimentation with, is there that outer border that we had talked about in some of our shows, and does that count? So trying to get just the, hey, how's this going to work? What are the variations? And for me, it always comes back to, they're just different games. They're different dialects of Foursquare. They're just different ways of doing it, and they come with different wrinkles. And you may be better at one and not at another. Or one suits itself to indoor versus outdoor versus tight space versus wide open. So there's a lot of different flavors of it that you can do, and I don't think that there is any one gold standard of this is Foursquare. It's people got it the way they grew up playing it, and some fit different venues versus others, and you can have a bunch of different flavors and
Mm-hmm.
different ways of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like flip a coin and see which one comes up. And that's what the tournament is. Kind of like there's a dealer's choice in poker. Okay, we'll do this way for 20 minutes, then that way for 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and in terms of actually these kind of go hand in hand, Bub. I started asking you about Palmsies down, and then Dan, you mentioned the out of play zone that we've been talking about that we're adopting into the rules here this upcoming year. So I'll start off, and I'd love both of your perspectives. My opinion about the out of play zone that we experimented with during our event beautifully worked. I thought it was perfect. It's exactly what I think it should be. That being said, the group of players we were playing with, Dan, you included, obviously, we grew up never doing Pomsies down. So therefore, and again, this is partly the point, I think it only came into play once or twice. And that one or two times was when somebody, I think Dan, you may have done
I
one,
think it
maybe.
was me once or twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody did a overhand kind of huge,
Hill.
powerful, oh yeah, slam. And it felt like again, it was only one or two times, but when that happened, it felt right to me. I don't even know if I was involved or not, but whoever involved, I was like, yeah, I agree. That is what should have happened. I don't know what you guys think. I'd love your ideas on that.
It was nice. We put it in, and then we're like, oh wait, essentially what it does is it just enforces an underhand style of play, or at least side. It forces low ball. This I would call it small ball if it was the baseball equivalent, but it's a tight, close-in game, and there is no just, all right, game over now. Like, that's it. Somebody just overhand slam and the ball goes 800 feet away. So again, different type of game. But
this actually came up. You mentioned it to me, Eric, at one point, and then I ended up hitting it against you, and it went out. I guess I didn't hate the rule because I'm not much of a slammer in general. I do like the small ball, like Dan said, a little bit more. However, I don't think I like the rule. I think if somebody slams you and it happens to go that far, I mean, that's, anticipate it and get in the way, so that way you can hit it before it bounces that high. Yeah. You know what I mean? That would be my thing.
I think
it is what it is.
I think what you are speaking to, though, Bub, let me know, I may be wrong, is the slam that we're used to, where that's what you just said is possible to try to anticipate. What about the slam with palms down or fist down, and it's just a bam onto, like, how do you, we talked about this, Dan, actually kind of going up there, try to just like smother it, which is a pop. I guess I don't know if I've ever seen anyone do that. I guess, I mean, theoretically it's possible.
It's pretty low probability. I mean, there's really two ways to defend it. One is just get right on top of it, like a hockey goalie, like soccer goalie coming up and really just trying to, reduce the angle.
And just hope it hits your hands though too, because if it hits you in the body, then that's.
Oh, I mean, that's why we talked to this before. I was like, look, if I'm getting up there, like, it's not going to hit my hands. I got, the whole body comes into play at that point, but that's a separate rule. And then the other one is you back off and you go, I'm going to track it where it goes. And then, baseball swing it back because I'm 50 feet away. So there are two different ways of defending it.
There's been times I know personally, and I've seen it. I mean, going back to, way back in the day, and even I think, last month, where I've done it where I've not smothered it, but like got it before it bounced over my head. And maybe you do reach up and you kind of just tap it like that. I can think back to parks back in the day when I would run 20 feet and, do like an over the shoulder, trying to just basically praying that it bounces in the square.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So like, I've done it. I've seen it. I mean, it's tough. I still think that should be part of the game. Going back to the palmsies down thing, that's such a gray area type of rule. Like, in my opinion, like when I think of palmsies down, I think if somebody serves it to me, a regular serve, I can't hit it like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was palmsies down to me. Mm-hmm. So you gotta hit it like this or on the side. When you start getting into the slams, and it's like, most slams are gonna be, your palm is facing down at least a little. I think, Eric, what you're saying is, we're trying to get the one that goes straight down kind of out of it, and that's the one that's going to bounce super duper high. But I don't know. Like, it's
a great debate.
A lot of those are probably palmsies down, and you don't call them because it's it's a little bit to the side.
Aggressive.
That's tough to enforce.
I mean, it's funny because the straight palmsies down, where someone just goes like, they come straight down in your square. The ball goes 30 feet in the air, but then it falls straight down to you. And you're like, all right, I mean, whatever, tap it and keep play going. It's when it goes in the distance, that's when you're running after it and going, this is the probability of saving that's going way down.
And it's a great debate. Hence the reason why we've been spending a lot of time talking about it. I mean, I think the other thing that plays a part too, which again, I know Dan, Joe, and I have talked a lot about, is the fact that we're also trying to factor in, the safety and the logistics of the championships, where there's fans and spectators and chairs and, walls and other cones and whatever else in the way.
It's a real tight environment.
It can, So that also is playing a part a bit in the implementation of the out of play zone, but it's definitely It's definitely fluid. It's definitely an evolving thing. We're gonna try it out, and we tried it out in our event. It seemed to go well. Wasn't utilized that much. People may or may not be a fan or like it. And ultimately, we're just trying to figure out what's best in at least the version that we're playing in. So, in the version that you all might be playing in, you can try it out. You can use it. Don't use it. I mean, it's definitely a debatable subject, one in
I
which
think
I'm sure we'll continue to talk through.
what Dan mentioned earlier about the different variations, I think it's if that's a rule, it going in,
Yeah.
change your style just a little to not do that, just don't slam it like that.
And that's you got to be flexible. You got to be able to adjust accordingly, and that's the type of it kind of shows what type of player you are too. I mean, if you can only be successful with one way of playing, and as we know, as we've just discussed here, Foursquare definitely has a lot of variations. Like you're gonna have to adjust your game accordingly.
It's like a house rule. Hey, when you go to
Yeah.
Fenway, you got to play it differently than when you're down in Houston. The walls are different. It's like you can't go, oh well, if I'd been in Houston, that deep fly to left field would have been a home run.
Right.
Well, yeah, but not here because it's got a 26-foot tall wall there, however tall it is. Like, so it's a different game, different place. You gotta, it's favoring a different strength, and some other time you'll be in the other stadium, you'll be under the other rules, and hey, it's gonna favor that other strength. So you gotta make sure you can do every aspect of the game.
As long as everybody knows what the rules are going in and everyone has the same rules, then to me that's fair. Speaking of Fenway, Dan, you made it out to Fenway when you came and visited. What were your I mean, we talked a lit'll bit about it, but what'd you think of the most beloved ballpark in the land?
So it was my first time to Fenway. I've been to Boston, I don't know, 5 or 6 times at this point. My first time there, it was amazing. I mean, it was, pilgrimage basically. And it was small in an intimate way. I love the concourses are just old. You can see like brick along them. You can tell it's an old place. Is it tight? Yeah. Is it modern? No. But everyone was happy to be there. It was a beautiful day. Everybody's watching baseball, chanting and cheering and buying beers and talking with each other. So it was just a great, relaxing evening.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you made it out there.
Glad I made it. Same.
I felt a little bad. I told you all this already. I would have loved to have gone with you. I felt like a bad host, not accompanying you, but my goodness, I was beat after that day. I mean, you were too, but I also had my kids with me, and I wasn't ready. I mean, if it was just you and I may have been able to do it, but I was not ready to bring my kids with me to go do all that. So.
Not at all. I don't know if I ever told you what happened. So after that, I went to Boston Sail Loft, try to get some chowder, walked up to it. This is like, I don't know what time it was when I finally got there, 8 o'clock or whatever. Okay, it's a 2-hour wait. Don't forget that. I'm not waiting 2 hours. But I found another place real close by, had the chowder that I was looking for. It was delicious. I actually had 2 bowls of it.
Nice.
Got myself a cider and just kind of hung out in the evening, relaxing, hanging out, and then took the tea back down to you, back down to the car and back down to you.
Look at you. You're like a Bostonian. You took the tea, or went to Fenway, you had some clam chowder. I'm like, look at that. Look at that.
I mean, Houston's got everything except that. It's like that and pizza you can't get. There's a couple of pizza places. That's just expensive, but that and pizza you can't get down here.
Last show, Joe, Dan, and I very much discussed the court environment. We will let you all know that we were gonna take that back, revise the rules, and report to you all. I'd love to actually go through this with Bub here because I'd love his opinion about this. So I'm gonna let you all know. I'm just gonna read the rule of this is an enhanced revised rule. So when it comes to court environment, this is what we have. If the ball bounces in a square and then strikes a wall, the play continues. That's kind of house rules at the venue that we're at. If the ball bounces in a square and if an obstacle impedes the player from returning the ball, such as a person, a chair, an object, etc., and the player made an attempt to return the ball, and the player had a realistic chance at legally returning the ball, the round is considered dead and the round will start over. However, if the player either did not make an attempt or did not have a realistic way of legally returning the ball, that player will be out. 3 quick things to mention and I'd love Bub's opinion about this. 1, if the scenario happens again within the same round with the same 2 players, a showdown will occur between those 2, which is 2 squares. 2, if the scenario happens again within the same round with a different pair of players, the round is dead and will start over again. And then number 3, a maximum of 2 do-overs in the same round if the scenario occurs again. Therefore, if it happens a third time, regardless of who's involved, a showdown will occur between the players that happened with on the third. So this was a little bit of, honestly, I'm gonna throw him under the bus because he's not here. This was a little bit of Joe. He was like, well, what if it happens again? What do we do this? What do we do this? And then, we did talk about, well, it probably won't, but you're right, it could. So we need to bake it into the rules. Honestly, I don't see it happening more than a second time. But if it did, that's what would happen. I think the main takeaway here is the first part of it. Bub, do you agree with the first part, which again is the ball bounces a square, somebody goes and gets it, they try to get it, they had a realistic way of hitting it into another square, but they hit something or the ball hits a chair or something like that, then it's a do-over. If they didn't go for it, or if you or the ref or whoever felt there's no way they were going to return that even if they went for it, then they're out. What do you think about that?
We've always played, it's a gentleman's game.
Yeah.
Let me say this first of all, I don't know where you're playing where there's chairs that are potentially getting in the way. Like, what are you playing in somebody's basement? Like, what is happening? Because everyone has ever played Foursquares besides the Rockdale one where it was like inside of like an alcove where there was surrounded by walls. Like every other Foursquare court is completely wide open.
So yes, and Dan, back me up here. We have a lot of people show up. How many people came, Dan, last time?
Hundreds.
They may not all be participating, but there's hundreds of people. So we're not at the point that we have like, Gillette Stadium to rent out.
Because it seemed, as soon as you said this alcove, it seemed like the ideal environment for a single Foursquare court would be a squash court. Or it's like, okay, the Foursquare court is in the middle and it's empty. Anybody watching is outside the court. There's no interference, and you've got this buffer zone and the walls, and it's nice and clean. But Bub, the championships takes place. You've got your 4 squares, and then there's probably 3 feet to the wall, and that wall has chairs along it, just folding metal chairs. It's kind of bananas. But even with them gone, I mean, you are up against the wall. It is tight. The courts are tight enough together because it's six courts on a basketball court.
6 courts. Yes. Yeah.
I'm
just picturing Bub like diving in the chair because Bub is a diver. All right, but man, you learned this. He's diving all over the place, and I mean, he's gonna get himself hurt diving into a chair. I don't want to see Bub. I don't want to see you get hurt.
It's gonna be like a WWF. Somebody's gonna get hit with the chair. Yeah.
I mean I disagree with all of it, I guess. But going back to the original.
You disagree with the layout? You're not wrong.
Yeah. Going back to the original point, though, I think it's a gentleman's game. I think 99% of the time, the person that is involved in that would say, "Nah, I wasn't getting that. Don't worry about it." Or I felt like I was going to get that, or I should have had that. And usually everybody else says, "Yeah, you're right." Or there's no way you're not getting that. But I think we err on the side of do-over versus you're out. If it's anywhere close, but yeah, most times people they'll be honest about it. And I think I mentioned that last month when we were, I don't know what happened with the play or something, but I said it's a gentleman's game. Everybody's gonna be honest. No one's gonna try to cheat at this point. So
yeah.
And it's very much it removes an aspect of the game. Okay, it's too tight for you to just absolutely smack it across the gym at somebody. No one's ever gonna be able to get that. It's like, dude, just stop. It's killing the game. Do we need to put a house rule in place for this? Maybe.
Yeah.
But the person who keep doing it over and over.
Person who won last year just continued doing it over and over again. So he may argue, well, it worked. So
exactly. And then the question for everybody else is, okay, well, we could all do this, but does that just mean the first person to get a, it's almost like there's a kill shot. There's
Yeah.
hey, if the ball's up here, you win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it fair? Is it what we want to do that there are unreturnable balls?
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not.
Well, the good news is that
determine the character of the game.
Exactly. The good news is that the goal starting next year is to get into a bigger venue to hopefully, at least minimize some of the things that, I mean, because Bub's just out on the whole thing. He's like, no, this is not happening.
He'll come in and have a
Bub,
heart attack when he sees the venue.
I want to ask you, we've talked about this probably a long times ago, but I'll bring it back up. What I'm about to ask you is going to sound like I'm joking. Okay, I think Bub and Dan probably will know I'm not joking. I want to let the 3 viewers or whoever is listening and watching this. I'm not joking with this question. Bub, how does it feel to know that if Foursquare was an Olympic sport or a professional sport, you would be one of the most famous people and rich and successful people in the world?
He's
not joking, by the way.
It's interesting to think about this question. So, and I feel like my brother and I have talked about this. Not this, but like, for example, I'll quick tangent. If America got all their best athletes to play soccer and just play soccer for 5 years, we would dominate soccer, right? Like we would absolutely dominate. If you had like LeBron playing soccer, and if he was actually like played for 5 years. Back to Foursquares. If this was an actual thing, like an Olympic thing, like, do I think I would have a shot? Yeah, I feel like I'm a pretty good player, but like, who knows? Who knows?
Some 21-year-old kid is going to utterly dominate.
It's an interesting thought. I think, I'll throw my name in the ring, but I'm not going to say that I would be a globally known icon just yet.
Well, I'll say it for you, because you would be. You're being humble, and you at the very least you'd be Michael Phelps. At the very least. So
good-looking guy.
Well, Bob, we appreciate you being on the show. We'd like to have you back again. We're gonna definitely continue to do the event that we had. I think. Well, we'll maybe do something in September. Dan will let you know.
Yeah, let me know.
But at the very least, definitely annually. Definitely at the minimum, we'll do that every summer. It was a pleasure playing with you again. It is so hard to get you out. I think I said it during, like, sometimes I don't even try to get you out because I know I can't.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's another tactic, by the way. I mean, but eventually you kind of have to. Your game is incredible, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
Hope you can make it up to Maine next. I don't know if we have a date, but hope you can make it up to Maine next year for the championships.
Quick aside here. So, Eric, you reached out to me, I want to say back in I think it was 2019 or maybe 20, because it was right before COVID. And you mentioned, this was before you had gone, you said, hey, there's this world championship in Maine. And I kind of laughed it off. I'm like, I haven't played Foursquares in 15 years. And then I think COVID happened, so it got canceled and whatever. And then you ended up, going up, and then I had kids and young kids. I know you did, but I had young kids, and I'm like, I can't justify. hey, I'm gonna go up to Maine for the weekend to go play Foursquares. My wife would have just laughed at me and said, "What you doing?" So it is funny. Like I originally, Eric reached out to me about it, and again, that was 6 years ago or so. So yeah, I don't know if I'll ever make it up, but it would be.
Yeah, we hope you do, of course. I will say my kids are a little bit older now than yours. My youngest is 10, and he comes with me and plays, but I get it. I couldn't have done it either when my kids were younger. So maybe someday. But obviously, yeah, I think it's in April, and continue to listen to our show, and we got a new website coming, so be on the lookout for that. But hopefully Bub will join us someday. Either way, we'll continue to play here, and I'm sure we'll have him back on the show. So Bub, as always, it's a pleasure.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much.
All right, see you, man.
Good to catch up.
All right, so Dan, we are going to continue our show here. We got probably another, what do you got, another 15 or so minutes?
Yeah,
minutes?
Something like that.
Okay, well, just raise your hand when you're when you need to go. But Bubba's staying on. Bub, you want to stay on? You can stay on.
I wasn't sure. I didn't want to just sign off, without saying bye. I wasn't sure what the plan was. So I am going to
hang on.
Okay,
hang on. Yeah, come join.
You're good just to hang out. Yeah.
All right, boys.
hang out, whatever you want to do.
I'll see you later.
All right. See ya.
Good to see you, Bub.
So let's see. What did we want to cover? We already talked about the event that we had last month. I don't think there's anything else we need to talk about there. We wanted to check in with Joe on the update on getting officials or referees at the championship. So we'll follow up with them on the next show. Not sure if there's any updates there. Website update. Okay, last show I mentioned that I gave you the big rundown on the new Foursquare website. I am still plugging along. I'm a perfectionist. I definitely am going to share with Dan and Joe first to give a review, but I am it's like my little side project. Honestly, it's like a hobby that I'm just absolutely loving. I'm looking at it. I'm the only one who's seen this so far. I'm probably about halfway through. I'm gonna guess. I'm approximately halfway through. But every time I get somewhere, I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if I add this, or oh, this page is all set. But there's something else I want to add now that I see it. So, it's getting there. It's getting there. I can't wait to show it to you all though. And then. Oh, Dan, you had an update, I believe. So you had a birthday recently, and you are in the possession of a new Foursquare ball, and I believe you utilized that ball to play with some kids recently, right? I'm assuming your own. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It was basically played with the kids in the back. Nothing even remotely formal, but so just kind of getting them out there, bringing it up, and having a good time. So haven't taken it out to do what I really want to do, which I'm not sure I'm ever really going to. Just take it to like an open air mall and just start playing and see who joins. But did get bouncing around with the kids in the backyard just for an intro, so that was fun.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. Excellent. Well, you got to start somewhere, right? And
absolutely.
If bringing up the next generation of Foursquare players, so I'm gonna pass on the tradition. And then an update on the venue situation. So Peter and I have been missing each other over the last few weeks, but he did leave me a message actually this morning, and he gave me two updates. One, and he said, as far as ESPN Ocho, it sounds like there hasn't been much movement there. He did say that he got in touch with them, and he needs to follow up with them. I'm not even because it was in a voice message, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. And then two, he implied that the new elementary school venue is all set, but he didn't say for sure. He said that he was gonna measure them and maybe take a picture and get back to me. So I don't know if that means that it's happening, or I think it is, or it would. So still trying to connect with him, so maybe more of an update next time. That's all I got. Other than that,
I think that's about it. I'm looking at our agenda. I'm sure a lot of that, the venue stuff certainly will get worked out one way or another at one point.
Yeah,
we got some time there.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, what do you think? Do we want to dive into maybe one topic, or do we want to save it for next time with Joe?
I think we save it for next time with Joe.
It's
been almost an hour already. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I think we're good.
We will pick it up next time. Then just a little tease. We're gonna dive into the different divisions that we utilize within the World Championships. The based on age, why we do that, if we should revise it, and just take a deep dive into all that. And then again, we obviously have many other things to discuss. So like, subscribe, share, comment. If you didn't like, so today is an hour approximately, but we're thinking going forward, we may have a longer show, maybe 90 minutes. So something for you viewers to let us know about if you think that's a good idea or not. Maybe you can wait and see, and then you can let us know. But either way, let us know what you think of the show. If you have any questions, you want to join, if you want to be part of it, let us know. Otherwise, we want to again thank Bub for being on. And yeah, until next time.
See you then, Eric.
All right, Dan. Have a good one.
Later. You too.
Bye.